Now, Thailand's caretaker Prime Minister has called for new elections in a bid to end months of political turmoil and unrest. This comes, of course, after the military imposed martial law, blocking off roads in the capital Bangkok and seizing control of TV and radio stations. So to discuss the situation and just what it means, we're joined from Canberra by Dr John Blaxland from the ANU Strategic and Defence Studies Centre. John Blaxland, good morning and thank you for making time.
Good morning, Virginia.
What is the nature of the political impasse in Thailand that the military has now intervened in?
Thailand has found itself in a predicament where the army chief felt he either had to avert or precipitate, I should say, a catastrophe. And essentially, he's trying to avert a catastrophe by stepping in with martial law. Now, he's using a precarious legal construct on which, to base his actions on. He is drawing on legislation that's 100 years old, a clause in it which is could be read a number of different ways, and his interpretation is subject to question. But what he has done is he has declared martial law, but he has not removed the Prime Minister, the acting interim Prime Minister, and he has not abrogated the Constitution. And what he's done is, one of the things that's so significant about this is that Thailand was on the precipice. We had the Senate that was looking to appoint its own alternative Prime Minister. We had the acting interim Prime Minister. The name itself speaks to the precariousness of the situation. Yeah. The acting interim Prime Minister refusing to budge, and we're on the cusp of essentially anarchy. And, you know, it's easy to cast aspersions at the military. They've got a long track record of staging coups. But this one, General Prayut, knows from the experience in 2006 that gets you nowhere. Thailand has not been able to resolve its crisis through a military coup. And he also knows that bloodshed on the streets, as we saw in May 2010, is very corrosive for Thai society. So my sense is he's trying to get in ahead of that and nip it in the bud to avoid the bloodshed, speaking loudly, speaking aggressively, and hoping to intimidate both sides into avoiding bloodshed. Dr
Blaxland, that's a very good analysis of the current situation, and thank you. I think it clarifies that for a lot of people. But I want to go back even a number of steps. I think a lot of people are confused by how we're even here or what this argument is about. We've heard about the so-called yellow shirts and red shirts. What's this dispute about? Where does it come from? What are its origins?
Well, it's a good question, but Thaksin is the central figure. Thaksin Shinawatra is Yingluck Shinawat's elder brother.
Yes.
He was Prime Minister from 2000 to 2006 when the military staged a coup. They staged a coup in September 2006, just before Thaksin was about to remove the last institution that was opposing him, which was the military. He'd subverted the courts, he'd subverted Parliament, and he was acting corruptly. There's no question Thaksin was corrupt. So the established elites had grounds for getting annoyed, for removing him, but what they did was illegal. There's no question about that. They then set a new constitution in place. They lost the elections. They couldn't believe it. They lost the elections, even though they rewrote the constitution. And then we've seen a succession of governments whereby the red shirts, which is aligned with Thaksin, have one office, been pushed out of office, one office again, and then now through the courts have been sidelined. So we saw Yingluck, the Prime Minister that was just removed a month ago, sidelined through the courts over technical matters. Now, this is a really vindictive move on the part of the courts because technically Yingluck appears to have been in breach of the law, but they pushed her case ahead of everything else. And in the face of many other indiscretions by other prominent people in Thai society.
Just to jump in there, Dr Blaxland, because in your view, the courts actually held one of these strong views about whether, you know, Shinawatra and Yingluck as well had the right to be there, or whether her position was, you know, was not sound to begin with. So they were pushing an agenda, you think, in the outcome that they achieved?
I don't think there's any question about that. Now, they're going to deny till they're blue in the face, but the bottom line is that they are part of the establishment. They're anti-Thaksin, they're anti-Yingluck, and they're anti-them for a significant reason. And this is something people don't quite understand. Thailand has a veneer of looking Western. It's got democracy, it's got wealth, it's got liberally educated people who speak English very well. And yet deep down, this is a Theravada Buddhist country with a karmic sense of order. if you don't fit in that karmic sense of order, and if you go out of your karmic place,
yes,
you are inviting a negative response. Thaksin did that. He invited the poor of the northeast and the north to taste, to have aspirations for wealth. He crossed a line.
Dr.
in
Blaxland,
terms of the elite's perspective.
I'm so sorry that our time is so short this morning, but just very, very quickly, if you can and if you have a view, how do you see this playing out in the short term at least?
Prayut has tried to act as a circuit breaker. We're going to see in the next 24 to 48 hours whether that circuit breaker will have the cathartic effect he's hoped it will have. If it hasn't, we're on the precipice and we're about to fall.
Dr. Blaxland, really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.